In October 2017, I decided to build a nice canvas tent for my Wayfarer Truant. I had been using a simple polyester tarp before, and it was waterproof and great, but I didn't like how it felt inside, especially in the summertime, and decided I would make a nice canvas one. I really love it. I decided to use the canvas primarily because of the breathability. And I thought, especially here in Florida with the humidity, that that was important. And I'm really actually happy with my choice. It is very comfortable inside. It is also very quiet. The wind can be blowing very hard and you barely know it when you're inside the tent because the canvas just moves a little bit and doesn't make any noise at all. It's also relatively easy to sew. It's easy to cut. It doesn't fray like some ripstop nylons do. And it's also very pleasant to the touch. The two main downsides of the cotton duck canvas, the first is weight, though I don't find this to be a big deal. I think it's about 15 pounds more when it's wet. But the boat carries it, not me, and it fits up nicely up under my forepeak, so the weight doesn't seem to bother me. For me, the biggest issue is drying time. If it's a damp morning, the tent is damp even if it didn't rain. I tend to squeegee it off to decrease the drying time, but it has to sit in the sun a little while before it's dry. And it is a good practice to have the tent dry before you roll it up and put it away. In terms of where I got my materials, the canvas I bought from an online supplier called Big Duck Canvas. They had great material, very high quality. I got it treated. It was fire treated, water treated, waterproof treated. I don't know if I'd do that again in the future. I think you can save money just buying good canvas duck, which you do want because it's inherently waterproof by its tight weave. But you can also treat it to make it more water repellent relatively inexpensively and save some money there. I also used Sailrite, which is a fantastic company. I got things like the big ZKK zippers from them, thread, basting tape, and most importantly, used their how-to videos online from everything from the different types of seams to use to how to make zippers, including the covered zippers that I did. Finally, I needed a sewing machine to put all this together. I would have loved to have a nice walking foot sewing machine, but those are hard to find for less than about $800 to $1,000 or $1,200. And for one project, I didn't think it was worth it. I did find a 1971 Fashion Mate 227 on Craigslist for $30. I found out later that it was the last model made with all metal internal parts on the drive, so I kind of lucked out there that it was essentially heavy duty because of that. But what I really liked about it is it was a 1971, just like the boat. So I thought it was kind of poetic to have the same vintage sewing machine as the boat it was making the tent for. I started by sewing some practice seams to test the machine to see if it could go through multiple layers. Also to help build my skills a little bit. I was really happy with how things came out. I had done a little sewing before in my youth, mostly for model boat sales, so it didn't take long to get those up. Oh, the other thing I got from Sailrite that was really important is basting tape. This is double-sided sticky tape, and you use this instead of pinning to make your hems. So you can fold the cloth over and iron it and use the double stick tape on the inside, which saves a lot of time and helps give a very nice finish because things don't move around. So I highly recommend that if you're going to do any project. The canvas that I had was 60 inches wide. I think I bought about 11 yards of it. The first thing I did was sewed two 10-foot panels together, but before I did that, one of them I put a covered zipper in the middle of, and that was to act as an entrance. I then joined the two pieces together, the two 10-foot long pieces together with what's called a flat felled seam, which gives you 4 layers in the overlap that you have to sew through. But again, the machine did pretty well with that. I then placed those two joined pieces on the boat, and I raised the boom to the highest level I could and still have canvas touching and overlapping the edge of the boat. That happened in the widest part of the boat, of course, is where that happened. I then marked the canvas at that distance all around the boat on the shear. So I didn't make a pattern. I used the tent itself as the pattern. I then took that off and hemmed it, and that essentially gave me the center section of the tent. Next, what I did is put the tent back on, clamped it on the side, and then laid out canvas for the front piece, and just let it overlap the front of the tent. And I marked both of them for the correct angle, because that's on an angle there because it slopes down. And I added the appropriate amount for hemming and for overlapping zippers, and put zippers on both sides to attach the front piece onto the central portion of the tent. This allows that front section to be taken off altogether, or opened up from either from the top, which would give you a vent at the top, or I can also vent from the front, and I'll show you that. I also made a piece for the back, put a central zipper on it, and attached that to the side pieces. So essentially that finished the shaping of the tent. Now for attaching the tent to the hull, I use a system where I have straps, nylon straps with buckles on them that are on the inside of the tent, and these wrap around a strap that goes around the entire boat, which is tensioned. The strap that goes around the boat can't pull up because the boat flares. So as it comes up, it gets tighter and tighter, and eventually it hits the lip of the where the shear and the side meet, and it can't really get around that very easily at all. So I really haven't had a problem with the tent lifting up over the side of the boat. So I put the tent on and the strap on loosely. I snug the strap up, and then I adjust the straps to tighten them up to snug the tent up. And it gives a very neat finish and holds the boat or holds the tent down well. And I really haven't had any issue with rain coming in or anything like that. I'm very happy with the result. When I went out and used it the first time, there was a little rain, and it kept me perfectly dry. I haven't been in a lot of downpours, but I've been in a couple of rains of 3 or 4 hours long, especially at night. And again, anyway, here's the tent. Like I said, I love it. If you're considering making one yourself, I hope this video helps.